doing an upcycled sweater romper with the Retro Sparkle Designs Batwing add-on. I will link this pattern down in the description below. The Batwing add-on goes from 0 to 3 months to 5 to 6T, and now we're going to get this assembled and cut out. I am making a size 3T sweater romper, so I'm using the 3 to 4T wing. So for mine, I'm only going to be cutting out 2 wings, and they will need to be mirrored. You do have the option to cut out 4 so that your wing has a front and back, but I'm just going to be doing 2 since I'm using mesh. So to cut out my mirrored wing, I'm going to fold my fabric up, and then I'm going to lay my pattern on and cut this out so that I will automatically have 2 separate mirrored pieces. Now, if you want your batwing to have a front and back, you would cut out 2 sets of mirrored wings for 4 total, and then you would sew those right sides together. So this is what your wing should look like. You should have one that's going to go in one direction, and then the other one is going to go in the opposite direction. Now for my sweater romper upcycle, I am using the Lowland Kids sweater romper pattern, and the first thing that we're going to do is cut off both sleeves. Now when you're doing an upcycled sweater romper, you are going to need additional fabric for your cuffs, your neckband, your sleeves, and your leg bands. So whatever size pattern you're going to be doing, make sure that it fits on your t-shirt before you cut into it. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down the side seam on both sides of the shirt. Wherever you do this, just make sure you're going to have enough fabric on the front and the back for your pattern pieces to fit on. Now we are going to cut at the shoulder seams on both sides, and if you notice a change in the audio, I had to switch microphones, so I apologize for that. Sorry guys. Now we're going to take the front of our shirt and we're going to fold it in half. So don't use the side seams that you just cut, use your image to find the center of your shirt. Now we're going to lay on our front bodice pattern piece and we're going to cut all the way around this. Also, if you have this little piece still on your pattern, I just fold that up and then cut straight across there. After you have this piece cut out, go ahead and open up that front bodice and just make sure that the image looks okay and how you want it on the front. Now we're going to do the same thing with the back of the t-shirt and the back of our romper pattern, except this doesn't have an image on it, so it's a little bit easier to go around and cut this piece out. So after we have the bodice cut out, now it's time to do all of our bands, cuffs, and sleeves. So I am just using a regular red double brush poly for this, and I will say that for the cuffs and the leg bands, I recommend sizing up at least 2 to 3 sizes because it can be really hard to stretch those on. So we're going to take our front and back romper bodice right sides together and sew at the shoulders. Then we're going to add on our sleeves by folding those in half, finding the center, and then we're going to lay this on right sides together and sew our sleeve on. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cuff and I'm going to fold it wrong sides together, and I'm going to pin this to the end of my sleeve. Trust me, it is way easier to sew these cuffs on straight instead of in the round, especially with the batwing add-on. Now these cuffs can be a little tricky because like I said, you really have to stretch to get these on, so make sure that you're using pins or clips. Now after you have both of your sleeves and cuffs on, now it's going to be time to add in our bat wings. So go ahead and open up your romper right sides facing up, and then we're going to lay our bat wing right sides facing up inside, lining up the edge with the side seam of our bodice. Then you're going to bring the top down and we're going to pin this closed. So after you have the sides pinned or clipped, we're going to start sewing from the bottom, and then we're going to pull our wing through our sleeve. So I'm going to start here at the bottom of my romper and we're going to start sewing up towards the sleeve. Now if you wanted to, you could put your bat wing inside your sleeve first and then move down to the sides. I just started doing it this way for my very first time, so if you want, I could possibly make a video on that other way. Now once you get to the armpit area, you're going to pull that other edge of your wing through your sleeve, and you're going to grab your new point at the edge of your wing and pull that down towards the cuff of your sleeve. Now that little corner or point here, you will need to cut off, so just line up the edge of your wing in between both fabrics of your sleeve and just sew that straight down all the way to your sleeve cuff. After you have your first side done, you're going to go ahead and repeat this with your other side and your other bat wing. This is what it should look like after you have it sewn. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and sew on our leg bands. So for our leg bands, we're going to fold our fabric in half, wrong sides together, pin the middle and both ends, and then we're going to pin that to our romper bodice and sew this on straight instead of in the round. Once you have both of your leg bands sewn on, now we're going to sew straight across the crotch. Now what I do to get all my seams lined up perfectly is I will push one of the seams of my leg band in one direction, and then the one on top I will lay in the opposite direction. That way they just lay on top of each other nice and flat, and you'll see your seams will be lined up perfectly. So the last step is going to be to add on our neckband, and for some reason my phone didn't record that, so I'm so sorry about that. And here's the final result. I really love how this turned out. I think the bat wings are so cool. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, hit the like button, and subscribe.